In this lecture I will focus more on the making of some Lissitzky exhibitions in our museum and the different roles the models played in these exhibitions. Here I will have some time for anecdotes also, which look a bit awkward in an essay. Let's just start with the first model after Lissitzky in our collection. In the history of Lissitzky Reconstructions, this history dates back to 1965, when the former Van Abbemuseum director John Lering organized an exhibition on the work of Lissitzky. This exhibition was the first in a series, showed paintings, graphics, and typographical works and architectural designs. And Lering, who was by training an architect, reconstructed this Braunraum, Braunraum as it's called in German, originally created for the Große Berliner Kunstausstellung, the Great Berlin Exhibition in 1923. By means of sketches, photographs of the Berlin original and a lithograph in the Kestner portfolio, Lering carefully put together the room that had made so much impression at the time. And this reconstruction immediately impressed others too, because sometime after our exhibition it was shown here in the Hayward Gallery. Another reconstruction a bit later, 1990, in the great Lissitzky retrospective that we made, was this abstract cabinet that Lissitzky made in 1928 for Alexander Dörner he was the former director of the museum in Hanover. And this reconstruction we used several times after it was made. And it always attracts a lot of attention. You can move these panels and then you can show different works. The idea to create a new series of displays in the Van Abbemuseum dates from 2008. The artist could and can still be regarded as an important precursor of many contemporary artists, someone who was aware of his social and political role, as well as of the demands he made of himself and others with regard to artistic innovation. Because of that, we decided to give our Lissitzky collection a central place in the museum. The aim of this new series was to show Lissitzky's oeuvre as well as work by his colleagues in several different contexts. Doing so would cast new light on his oeuvre and the context in which it was produced, as well as on Lissitzky as a person. To conceive these exhibitions, we asked John Milner, here present, and the first exhibition was called Victory Over the Sun, Overwinning over the Sun in Dutch. Based on the 1913 Russian futurist opera, about which you can read a little more in my essay. It was John who came up with the idea to create models of the so-called figurines that Lissitzky later designed for this opera and for his version of it. And we asked his son Henry to execute them. Here you see Lissitzky's introduction to the Figurinenmappe. This is a portfolio of lithographs that Lissitzky created in 1923. And reading this introduction, we felt encouraged to construct models of the figurines. But because in this introduction, Lissitzky urges us to go on where he left the project. And he gives also instructions of how to do this. Let's have a short look at the source material we had, and of course you can admire the models here. So This is a drawing for the announcer that John already showed, and which is here. And carefully looking at these drawings and also lithographs, and studying the other documentation of the figurines, John and Henry put together 4 models. So the announcer, and with the announcer, it was also, John showed the original page. This is a volume of the Dlia Golosa. That's a book with Mayakovsky painting, Mayakovsky poetry that Lissitzky designed, and he made a thumb index in it. It was the first time there was a thumb index in a book. And the announcer is in front, and on the front page of this, the first page of this book. And so, inspired by this, Henry made a little speaker and a little MP3 player in it. So this model can really recite the poetry of Mayakovsky if you want to. And to go a step further, we can also have it recite by Mayakovsky itself, because we have the original recordings, some of the original recordings of poems in this booklet. The other one is the time traveler. In the same procedure was applied here, carefully looking at the drawings and at the lithographs of the time traveler. This is the model, you can see it there, and also the new man. John already mentioned the Novi, the lithograph, and then the model. And you've seen many of them, and they indeed appear to be dancing. Huh? And with the grave diggers, of which you see a drawing here, we got a little further, and now I must ask some help. This is the lithograph, this is the model, but we got a little bit too courageous. You will see here on this movie how it was constructed. This was quite a challenge, I must say. This is the result. Preparing this model, we got so enthusiastic that we decided to make it a little bigger and heavier, and to follow Lissitzky's instruction on the use of the proper colors of materials. The metal was sponsored by a local metal company, and a few heavy metal local guys with a huge metal workshop constructed it. Making art models turned out not to be their specialty. Constructing our 8-meter high model, they switched the colors of the 2 grave diggers, so that in the end we had to resort to coatings. But no one notices this now. It took some time to build it, and it was installed in one memorable afternoon. After the installation, I spent 2 hours sitting at the table, one of the tables in the restaurant. You cannot see me there, I think, but I was sitting there drinking heavy Belgian beers. And in the end, I think I even toasted to the grave diggers themselves. In the introduction, I already mentioned, Lissitzky also described the show machinery, and John, this is a drawing for it. There are other drawings too. And this is the lithograph. It is a flexible construction of ribs that can be viewed from every side. So, and in it we can see the so-called playing bodies. So you see the 4 figurines. And mechanical puppets that take the place of players. They can move freely on the stage, both horizontally and vertically. The stage and the puppets are set in motion by one person in the center of the machinery, the so-called show shaper, Schaugestalter. This is done by means of electromechanical power. Not only does this person control the movements of the machinery and the bodies, but also the lights. He lights the scenes and plays the different sounds needed for the play. And he speaks the text of the playing bodies. So it's quite a task that he has. Here you see the lithograph, and here you see the results. And you see, John said it already, the announcer, the new man, time traveler, and the grave diggers. And this is also a very interesting thing. Alles ist bien was gut начинается. So it's a kind of international language. Everything is good, which starts good, which is very logical, of course. If it's good, it starts good and it stays good. Oh, et hat no finita, that's around the corner. Et hat no finita, and there's no ending. So if you start something good, and it has no ending, then it will stay good, of course. So this is what we showed in the exhibition, and here, because the State Museum was closed at the time, we could get the famous Malevich paintings. While his son was busy constructing and installing, John engaged in visual poetry. Well, you see what he did here with some of the Lissitzky citations. And I remember him saying, this a bit up, and this a bit down, and this put this there. And so this is the result of a few evenings of installing. One room had the famous skyscraper, the Neboskrep, and Lissitzky's architectural designs were presented here. And this Neboskrep, this skyscraper, was created by our technical staff, two people of our technical staff who were very proud of it, and indeed it was huge. And Henry had several models here, and this is the lithograph of Die Stadt, the city, by Lissitzky, and this is the model of it, and we especially took this photograph, and if we turn it a little, then you can see it gets 3 dimensions. One more to show. This one, John already showed it. I think it was a bit of a traumatic experience for you, Henry, eh? Because if you know that it's up over there, and I remember the evening that Henry had to go up from here to here in a little machine that puts him up. A what? Well, you know. But it was about, there was something he could hold on about here, and then he had to go up. So I was standing over there in the balcony, telling him, well, Henry, just be quiet, don't look down, and I will get you the material, and I will get you the equipment, and just try to concentrate on installing. It was quite a remarkable evening, you could say that. For a small museum in a provincial town in the Netherlands, we got a lot of attention with this exhibition, and we were even on Russian television. There is a new stage that we went in with Lissitzky. Let me see where I am. Yes, the next enterprise in our museum was litski-kabakov, a confrontation between the work of an artist looking hopefully ahead at the future and one looking back and asking himself what has come out of all these ideals. At the start of this exhibition, as a kind of summary announcement of the subject, we showed the reconstruction of the new man with a new sculpture by Ilya Kabakov, the man climbing over the wall. thus opposing hope for the future with total exhaustion. And this juxtapositions came back a lot of times in the whole exhibition. The two others of the artists were juxtaposed in 8 different themes. For instance, clarity of forms and garbage. Represented, the clarity of forms are represented by the model of Lissitzky's skyscraper, and it was opposed with the garbage that you can see flying around here, labeled by litski-kabakov. In one exhibition room, the theme of Lissitzky was victory over the everyday, and the correspondent Kabakov theme was everyday's victory. It showed works relating to Soviet daily life in and around the communal kitchen. Looking for interior designs, we found a series of gelatin silver print photographs in the collection of the State Tretyakov Gallery in Moscow that showed a maquette of a residential cell of a communal house made in 1927. As soon as it was clear that we could borrow these photographs for the exhibition, we asked Henry Milner if he could make a reconstruction of the interior model. And I'm sorry that I don't have a bigger picture of it, but you see it here in the middle with the original photographs. A very delicate maquette, and in an otherwise very empty room, because we thought this one room is so full that we have to leave the other room very empty. And we had a little, we had a big plan for an interior by Lissitzky made on the floor, also a reconstruction, you could say. Another theme, memory, monument to a leader. Here you see the monument of the leader by Henry, with a small transparent Lenin hanging over and talking to the people. And here you see the monument of a tyrant. The tyrant has just come from the pedestal, has become alive again, and the people are running away. The last room in the exhibition had, for the Kabakov side, the bright future behind us. You could hear Soviet women singing heroic songs as you went into this agate-prop wagon. This retrospect needed hardcore Soviet propaganda on the Lissitzky side. I remember calling Henry Milner early last year to ask if he would have time to build something big from the Pressa exhibition that Lissitzky did in Cologne in 1928. I sent him some photographs, and the next morning he was on the phone. Willem, I want to do this. I will not charge too much for it. Please, let me do it. And this was the result. So it was a really huge star that attracted a lot of attention in our exhibition. I would like to end with some recent news and also a kind of reconstruction, you could say. I just came from Moscow. The Multimedia Art Museum has our Lissitzky-Kabakov exhibition now. And there's an addition that litski-kabakov did to this exhibition. Here you see the Lissitzky poster, 1920. Let's beat the red with the whites with the red wing, with the red wedge. And well, it has been destroyed forever. You see, it's irreparable. Will never be the same again. What happened? They hung it very high up, and an angel came falling through it. You see it lying on the ground here. And well, there's one thing that was very lucky, just past the Lenin model, that it's still intact, so I can assure you, it's there. And Lenin, the little transparent Lenin, is talking to the Moscow public as we speak. Thank you, John and Henry, very much for your cooperation. And thank you.